What is up, y'all? It's your boy 314 Cam here, back with another, hopefully, banger of a video here for y'all today. So, recently I posted a short on YouTube of a void build I've been using, right? And this void build video got a lot of views, got a lot of comments of a lot of different people asking for the specifics of the build. And I promised I would deliver on a video on that. So that's exactly what I'm going to do today. I'm going to do a full in-depth review of the build, go over all the perks, the list, etc. And then after that, I will show a little bit of gameplay so you guys kind of get a gist of exactly what I mean when I say this build is amazing. Okay, so let's first start off by clicking on the build. So we'll go from left to right, top to bottom, right? So of course we'll start off with our super if we're going left to right. So for my super, I'm using the Titan Sentinel Shield class and ability. Okay, I'm not using the Twilight Arsenal or the Ward of Dawn. Okay, so super is the Sentinel Shield. As far as abilities go, I have the Rally Barricade on specifically. Okay, I personally always use Strafe Lift. I think it's the best Titan Glide. That's just my personal opinion. On this build, I prefer to use Shield Bash over the Shield Throw, and I'll get into that later. And then I also prefer to use the Vortex Grenades on this build. Okay. For the aspects, I have on the Controlled Demolition. Controlled Demolition, as the description says, hitting a target with a void ability or any volatile explosion makes them volatile. Okay, so that's going to be very important for this build, which I'll explain later as well. Further damage to volatile targets cause them to explode. Okay, this grants you and nearby allies health when a volatile target explodes near you. So that is a very important aspect. You have to use that. Okay. Secondly, the next most important one is Bastion. Okay. So Bastion also just recently got a buff. So this just makes it even better. I was using this build before the buff. So this one, anytime you cast your super, your, rally barricade, whatever it may be, it gives you an overshield. Okay. It also allows that overshield to regenerate slowly, and etc. etc. Okay, so that's my aspects, my abilities, and my super. Last part of this is the fragments. So fragment number one is Echo of Expulsion. It says here, void ability final blows cause targets to explode. This literally does the exact same thing as Controlled Demolition, but the reason I have this one on is because it gives us plus 10 super, which is important for this build. Okay. Secondly, melee final blows start health regeneration for you and your nearby allies. Okay, so that's very important here. That's another reason why I wanted to use the shield bash for this instead of the shield throw, because this one says melee final blows. Shield bash, typically, unless you're going versus a very powerful opponent, shield bash typically always gets you a guaranteed final blow, whereas shield throw can be a little iffy, right? Plus it gives you plus 10 health. What's to hate about that? Okay. Third thing is the Echo of Reprisal. So this one, final blows when surrounded by combatants grant super energy. This is amazing. Okay, so this is why I call this build my infinite super build. Okay, you're gonna see in a second here, but this right here is probably the most important fragment. Last but not least, finisher final blows grant invisibility. This one, you can honestly swap this out with whatever you want. The reason I have this one on is for two main reasons for myself personally. One, I wanted to have more class ability than I did, because I wanted to make sure that my rally barricade comes back a little bit faster, etc., etc. Two, I do a lot of high octane, high level, etc. activities in this game. And sometimes I be one shot, right? And I be surrounded. So sometimes getting that finisher off, and giving myself the overshield from the finisher, and then being able to go invisible and glide away and heal myself up a little bit and then come back, it's amazing. That's just my personal playstyle. That helps me. If it doesn't help you, you can change this out with whatever you want to. Okay, so that is my super, my abilities, my aspects, and my fragments. Okay, secondly, the weapons I use on this build. So we can actually, this is not correct here. The weapon I use is actually this. So okay, so as far as weapons I use on this build, Okay, so your primary, you can honestly swap your primary out with whatever. I typically use a hand cannon or the Last Thursday on this build specifically. Uh, so you know that's fully up to you. Whatever you choose, up to you. Don't care about the primary, but the secondary. So this one is a non-negotiable. You have to use the Choir of One. Okay, this is a non-negotiable. Choir One. It's an amazing gun. You get it from the exotic mission Encore, which is in the game. It's been in the game for probably years at this point. Can't even remember when it came out. It's been so long. Um, but on top of it being in the game for a while now, it's always in the portal. So you literally can just get this weapon whenever you want. Do the quest, buy it from the little thing at the tower, whatever you want to do, get this weapon. Okay. So the Choir One is the most crucial weapon and only real requirement weapon on this build. Okay. So the Choir One has destabilizing rounds in it. Defeating a target creates a void burst. Hitting other targets with this burst also makes them volatile and grants you volatile rounds for a short duration. So I don't know if you guys have noticed a pattern or not here, but a lot of this build revolves around volatile and void explosions. Okay. Secondly, fanatical lance. So rapid final blows cause targets to explode into a pool of radiolarian fluid. Okay. Hip firing launches multiple projectiles at once in a slower moving spread pattern. I don't know why I said motion. Sorry. Projectiles detonate on impact. So hip firing is the way to go with this gun. Okay. So the way that we use this build, you want to be hip firing when you're facing groups of enemies. Okay. You want to always be hip firing. Okay, it's going to spread out the projectiles. You're going to get a bunch of different one-shots. It's going to cause a bunch of extra additional radiolarian explosions on top of your volatile void explosions, and you're just going to be killing everything around you. Only time you want to be aiming in with this is if you're going against a very specific boss and you need some precision crit damage. Okay. The third thing I always use for this specific build, I always use a grenade launcher. I personally like grenade launchers that have spike grenades on them so I can just shoot and explode. You can use whatever you want. That's up to you. I don't care. But I like spike grenades. So that's just me. Okay? So that's that. Alright. Just to show you how to build on this grenade launcher though, because it is pretty nice. It has spike grenades on it, full court, and blast distributor. So yeah, I like to use this one. That's just me. And that's the whole left side here, okay? I'll get into the artifact in a second. As far as the right side, the armor, okay? So as far as armor goes, I am currently using a couple different set bonuses, okay? So I'm using the lustrous, however you say that, set bonus, okay? So it says here, here's a set bonus for this. So the set bonus for this really doesn't help out with the void portion of it, but it ties itself into my grenade launcher. Okay? And these are the only pieces of armor I can get that actually help me get the stats I was going for, so deal with it. Okay. So the galvanic, whatever. Receiving healing temporarily grants your solar weapons increased flinch resistance, handling, and reload speed. Rapid solar final blows heal you. Yeah, I know that doesn't tie good into the void build, but hey, my grenade launcher's void, and these are the only pieces of armor I could find that had the stats I was going for. So if you gonna comment about it, you're gonna be talking to yourself because I don't care what you got to say. Right? So here are the artifacts. I'm not sorry, not artifacts, the mods. Okay? So for the helmet mod, okay, first things first, masterwork your armor, upgrade your armor all the way, fully masterwork it, get that extra stat bonus on there, okay. But regardless though, we got a super mod, huh? Dynamo, reduces super cooldown when using your class ability near targets, okay. Hands on, gain bonus super energy on melee kills. Okay. Lastly, harmonic siphon, rapid void final blows creates you an orb of power so that you can ding 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 get your super and other abilities back faster. Okay. Secondly, we have the Doom Fang Pauldron as our exotic of this build for the armor. Okay, so this is a very important piece. You cannot use this build properly without the Doom Fang Pauldron. Here's how it looks without the ornament. Okay, So you will need this. Once again, masterwork it. There's no reason for this not to be masterworked. Also, if you have that option available to you, make it an artifice armor. Okay, that's what I like to do. So the Doom Fangs, I have a health mod on here so I can get plus 10 health in my main primary slot. Okay. Secondly, I have a plus 3 super mod on here so I can just, once again, have more super. I don't want to die, and I also want to be able to spam my super. Okay. Melee fonts. So the fonts in this game are beautiful. The fonts essentially give you a plus 20 stat on whatever your current stat is for your melee. So that's pretty awesome. Okay. So I have the melee font on here because, as you can see, I have 87 character stat for my melee, and if I have the melee font on, that 87 becomes 107, right? So that's that. Impact induction causing damage with a power melee attack, reduces your grenade cooldown, right? The next one I have here is focusing strike, grants class ability energy when you cause damage with a powered melee attack. So getting melee kills is going to give you your class ability and your grenade back faster. Okay. As far as the chest armor goes, once again, masterwork it. I have a super mod on here. Okay. Since this is a tier 5 armor, I have a general armor mod on here that gives me plus 5 health, minus 5 weapons. The weapon, the Choir 1, already does a ridiculous amount of damage. You don't really need a lot of weapon stat on this build at all. And like I said, health and super, I don't want to die. And I also want to be able to spam super, so I got a plus 5 health on here. And then for my armor pieces, for my personal preference, I like to personally put on a bunch of resistances. So the main 3 damage types that enemies in the game do are typically Arc, Solar, Void. So this is usually what I will always have on. But if you want, you can swap this out with health font and give yourself more health, or you can even swap it out with, like, melee damage resistance, whatever you prefer. That's up to you. Okay. Nearing the end here, we have the legs. So once again, masterwork it. Not gonna keep repeating it. I have a health mod on this one because at this point my super is pretty much where I needed it to be for this build. My health, I wanted it to be a little higher, so I have a health mod on this. I have recuperation. So recuperation replenishes your health each time you pick up an orb of power. Okay. Picking up an orb of power grants a small amount of energy to your ability with the least energy. Okay. And then last but not least, innervation reduces grenade cooldown each time you pick up an orb of power, right? So as you can see, these all kind of synergize with each other as far as orbs of power go. So I got one that replenishes my health fully, heals me every time I get an orb, right? I also have one that gives me energy ability towards my least charged ability I have, okay? And then I have one that gives me basically a guaranteed grenade every time I pick up an orb of power. And the reason I'm basing this all off of orbs because I have Harmonic Siphon on, which is where rapid void final blows create those orbs of power for me to be able to always constantly have those, so I can be healed and always have my abilities back. And like I said, if you shoot this Choir of 1 at hipfire and you're just spamming it, you're going to be getting a ridiculous amount of void kills anyway, meaning you're going to make a ridiculous amount of orbs, and these are going to all 3 synergize with each other. And then last but not least, I have a Masterwork Mark with another health mod. I have Proximity Ward, so the way I kind of explained to you guys earlier with my fragments, I play a lot of high level activities, and there are times where I am one shot and I need to get a finisher off to survive. And like I said, I like to use finishers to make myself turn invisible when needed to escape, and also to get that overshield. This perk right here gives me that overshield. Okay. Secondly, I have Powerful Attraction. Automatically collects nearby orbs of power when you activate your class ability. So if I am fighting a bunch of different people and I've made a bunch of different orbs, right, which I just talked about, that whole synergize right there, right? So if I made a bunch of orbs and my gear is synergizing correctly, I can just throw down my rally barricade and all those orbs will just come to me. I don't got to come after them. They come to me. Okay. And then last but not least, you can either swap out distribution for class find, or you can use distribution. I've chose to just use distribution. So it reduces all class ability cooldowns. Reduces all ability cooldowns when you use your class ability near targets. So the reason I do this one, usually if I'm popping a rally barricade or a towering barricade, 9 times out of 10, I was probably about to die, needed to protect myself. If I'm probably about to die, I'm more than likely near some enemies, right? So if I'm popping my barricade near enemies, this will make it to where I automatically get a ridiculous amount of that ability energy from my other stuff like my grenade, melee, etc. super back. Okay, so that's how this all synergizes. So that's all the perks, the weapons, the abilities, the supers, and the fragments. Okay, last two categories here. Then I will stop yapping and I will show you guys the build in action. So I hope you guys appreciate all of this. Okay, so with stats, first I have a health stat. Okay, you don't need to, I don't know why people have this belief that your stuff has to be at a 200% stat in order for your build to work how you need. Then they end up having 200 health and like 5 on everything else. That is not the case. You can balance. I like to personally balance my stuff out a little more. I like to have some of my stuff in the hundreds, some of it in the high 80s, etc., etc. That's just me. Basis off your own playstyle, though, I guess. Okay. So with this Void build, as you know, if you're a Destiny veteran, you know Void Titans should not be dying a lot. Just kind of the opposite of what the build is meant for. Void Titans are supposed to be able to block a lot of damage, take a lot of damage, help you take damage, etc. Okay? My health stat gives me the ability to take a lot of that damage. It gives me increased resistance, etc. The reason I wanted this to be at around 130 or higher, right, is because of the additional perks for it. So, one, having this big of a health stat makes my shields recharge a little bit faster. So I get plus 9 additional shield health, and I get a plus 20% additional recharge rate for my shield. 2, as you guys saw my armor perks, I have it to where picking up orbs fully restores my health, or at least gives me a fat chunk of it back. Having my stuff at about 130 or higher gives me a 70%, a plus 70% health per orb, right? So that synergizes with that armor perk to where I'm basically going to be always at 100 health as long as I'm picking up orbs. And then last but not least, flinch resistance. Yeah, with the Choir 1, you are hip firing, like you should be hip firing all the time, but there are of course always going to be times with any gun where you're probably going to aim in. You don't want to have a bunch of stupid flinch resistance messing up your aim. Okay, so that's why I wanted to make sure my health stat was pretty high. Secondly, my melee stat. We just went over all my different perks. A big point of my perks, as you saw, was getting my melee and grenade back. Okay, I showed you guys how I use the Sentinel Shield. I have all my stuff synergized to where I get those both back a lot. Now, I didn't need this to be over 100 because I don't need the additional benefits for it, but I did need it to be pretty close so that my melee find when I get an armor charge would push it past that 100 so that I can just get some extra bonus in there. Okay, so this makes my melee ability cooldown go down to 0.44 seconds, which really it's significantly faster than that when I'm actually, you know, using the build. You get it back in like probably every 20 seconds max. And then my melee energy is a plus 151%. Grenades. Same thing. I didn't need this to be over 100 because as you saw with the way the build synergizes, when I'm getting kills and getting all these orbs, etc., etc., I'm going to have my melee and grenade back a lot anyway. So I just kind of put this one at 59% so that I could get my grenade cooldown under 2 minutes. What you see is at 1 minute and 32 seconds. And I could get that additional grenade energy, but I didn't need it to be high, okay? Because I know I'm going to get my stuff back pretty fast. Super. Now I did need my super to be pretty high, okay? With my super, I have it at a plus 140. Okay, I didn't need it to be at 200 because I don't care to increase the damage done by this super. This is a roaming super. It's not like I'm going to be using this to hit a boss one time and absolutely nuke and tank them. This super is meant to either protect me with and my teammates with the giant shield or clear out a bunch of ads, right? So the big part of this super is making sure, one, I have the super. 2, making sure it does just enough damage to clear out all the ads, and 3, making sure the super doesn't go away. Okay, so the overall like tanking damage, like, you know, just one-shotting bosses isn't needed. That's why it's not at 200. With it being at 140, it does a plus 17.7% PvE damage, which is exactly perfect to be able to nuke any red bar or orange bar that comes at you. Okay. You also get a plus an additional 190% super energy, which is amazing because when you're using this build, you're going to be getting your super pretty fast. With my class ability, okay, The class ability for the Rally Barricade, it already comes back pretty quickly without any other extra stuff. So having it at 55 lowers that down to a 28-second thing. The way your build synergizes, you should basically never be without a barricade. By the time your one barricade goes away, you should already have another one fully charged up as long as you have your stuff at 55% or higher. Last but not least, weapons. I genuinely don't care about this stat at all because, like I said, the Choir 1 already does a stupid, ridiculous amount of damage, so you don't really need a weapon stat to make it better. Okay. Last but not least, guys, let's go over the artifact perks. And then I will go ahead and show that gameplay that you're looking for. Okay. So, the artifact perks. Okay. So you can choose whatever you need to choose for your weapons, for your overload and stuff. I don't care. Okay. But as far as the other perks, so one, let's see, the perks that actually matter for you. One, elemental benevolence. Okay. Granting allies and elemental buffs gives class ability energy. In case you guys don't know, the Bastion perk that I showed you guys I'm using for my Void Titan class, if I pop that near my teammates, they also get an elemental overshield. That counts as part of your elemental buff, and it gives you additional class ability energy, so you can always get those rally barricades back. Two, the next perk you want to always have equipped with this is the, where is it? Oh, it's this one actually. I'm sorry. It's Elemental Daze. So stunning a champion with an elemental weapon creates an elementally aligned explosion, applying a matching elemental debuff to them and nearby targets. So this does a couple things for you. One, as you guys know, this is a very heavily void and volatile explosion based build, so that you can get these abilities and spam them, and so that you can get your super, and when you pop your super, you'll be making void explosions based off of that too, and you should be hopefully keeping it infinitely, or at least for a very long time. This allows you to where if you stun a champion with your Choir of One, or your super or your other abilities, you're going to be creating even more explosions off that champion rather than losing your whole momentum you had going. And you'll also be applying a void debuff to the champion, which the void debuffs are like suppressing them essentially. Okay. Let's see. The next one here that you want to have equipped is the Shield Crush. So it says while you have Woven Mail, Frost Armor, or a Void Overshield, your melee recharges faster and deals increased damage. Once again, with this build, you should pretty much always have a Void Overshield. Your Rally Barricade, your Volatile kills from your Choir 1, etc. both heal you and both give you or your teammates Overshield, right? So if you're using the Choir 1 and you're spamming those Rally Barricades and those grenade kills and getting them Volatile kills and stuff, you should always be getting healed. You should always have a Rally Barricade giving you a Void Overshield. That Void Overshield is going to synergize with your already amazing armor perks that are giving you your melee back, and make your melee come back even faster. And when you are getting your melee back and you're hitting people with these shoulder charges with the Sentinel Shield, you're going to be doing even more damage, guaranteeing you even more one-shot hits with your Sentinel Shield, which also again guarantees you the fact that you're more likely going to get it back faster because you got a kill with it rather than just a hit. Okay. So those are the only three that are important for this: Shield Crush, Elemental Daze, and Elemental Benevolence. Okay, so those are all the perks, the weapons, the super related things, and my specific stats that I have on. Okay, so nobody should be in the comments like, hey, what was this stat? It's all in this video. Okay. Last but not least, I forgot to explain what the Doom Fang actually does. So my apologies. The Doom Fang. Defeating targets with void damage grants a bonus to void weapons, and defeating targets with void melee grants super energy. While your Sentinel Shield is active, defeating targets with melee attacks recharge your shield throw, which extends your super on hitting a target. Okay, so a lot of important information for that right there. Firstly, it says defeating targets with void damage grants a bonus to void weapons. So whether you're using your grenade, your melee, or your Choir of One, when you're killing those enemies with these weapons, you're going to be getting a bonus to this weapon that's going to help with the damage, the reload speed, the rate of fire, etc., making this weapon just overall more better for you as you're using it. Okay, so that's gonna be amazing, right? Also, if you're able to get those bonuses with this weapon and it's doing all that different volatile damage and creating all those different explosions for you, right? You should be getting a lot of super energy from that, as well as the fact that those explosions and that damage bonus that the Doom Fang is, synergizing with the Acquire 1 should also be healing you. So you should constantly be at 100 health and you should constantly have super energy. Okay. The next thing it says here, defeating targets with your Void Melee grants super energy. We've gone over how all the other perks we have equipped on our artifact and our armor pretty much are going to help you get those one-shot melees off a lot easier and help your melees recharge a lot faster. That once again goes hand in hand with this artifact perk here that says melee final blows start health regeneration for you and nearby allies. So if you're getting your melee final blows and you're getting that additional damage from your artifact perk and all the other stuff that we had on our, equipped on our armor to synergize with that, you should also be healing yourself and your homies if they're nearby you. Okay. The last thing it says here ties into the infinite super portion of this. While your Sentinel Shield is active, defeating targets with your melee attacks recharge your shield throw, which extends your super on hitting a target. So, the Sentinel Shield, in case you guys don't know, already comes with 2 shield throws you can do with the super. Without the Doom Fang, it typically takes a while for those shield throws to come back. But with the Doom Fang, you can throw that shield, it'll go and it'll, cycle around, hit a bunch of different people, and as long as you melee one, or not even melee, as long as you kill 1 or 2 people with the shield throw or with your regular sentinel melee, which you're using your super, you will get another shield throw back almost immediately. Okay, so as long as there are at least 2 enemies available to you at all times that you can throw your shield at or that you can melee with your super, you will non-stop have your super. Your super will literally never go away, and that is not an exaggeration. If you don't believe me, go watch the short I have posted on my channel. There's a 5-minute clip on there of me literally never losing my super. Okay, so that was a lot of information, right? But basically this build makes it to where when you do pop your super, you never lose it. And if you don't have your super pop, you're still going to be the most powerful person on your team. You're going to have non-stop melees, non-stop grenades, non-stop rally barricades. You're going to be creating volatile explosions everywhere. All of those kills, all of those melees, grenades, and rally barricades are going to generate orbs for you and your allies, and they're going to keep you and your allies healed at all times. And if you're able to be healed and keep your allies healed, you're overall just helping everybody else, and you're going to be able to spam all your abilities. And you should always, at the end of every activity you do, have the most kills, the least deaths, the most amount of orbs generated, the longest super used, and you should always be at 100% health. You should never have to worry about, dang, I died, now I got to worry about if my teammates are going to survive, because you should never die. Literally, you should never die with this build as long as there's an enemy to kill. Okay, so that is the entire build from top to bottom, middle to end. Okay, and I appreciate you guys for watching.